and welcome to the show. Let me start by saying that I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Today I'll be doing some math because I needed to answer a question for myself, and I thought I'd share my thinking process. So the question I have is, would it be more profitable for me to wait for the dividend or to sell during the run-up in price? And at what point in price would I have equivalence, right? We know that qualified dividends are taxed at the long-term capital gains rate. The MMTLP shares will become OilCo shares, and then the OilCo shares, when they're sold, will have a particular, they'll be taxed at the lower tax rate as a qualified dividend. However, if MMTLP runs up in price before that happens, would it make sense for me to sell it, right? And what would be the equivalent price? If it runs up in price, we're not going to be able to take the long-term capital gains treatment probably, because it's going to be less than a year, so it's going to be taxed as regular income. So, what's the deal here? If you bought it for less than a year, it'll be taxed as regular income. So that's a fact. So let's see what long-term capital gains rates are in general. We can go to the IRS website. Links are provided over here. Essentially, this is my breakdown of their pamphlet. In terms of long-term capital gains, you'll be paying 20% if you're single, and if you have income over $459,750. If you expect the MMTLP payout to be over that, and I strongly suspect that it could be for a lot of people's situations, then that's a 15%. Then that's a 20% tax rate that you'll wind up at the maximum long-term capital gains rate. Okay. There's also an additional tax you have to pay to the federal government. It's the net investment income tax, or the Obamacare tax, whatever you want to call it. It's an additional tax. It's 3.8% for the Affordable Care Act, and there's an additional Medicare tax of 0.9% if you make over a certain amount of money. And I think it's something like if you make over $250,000 or something like that, and chances are you will, because of the whole MMTLP dividend, it'll be a fairly large amount, right? So in total, we're looking at about 4.7% for the Affordable Care Act taxes. California has a particular tax rate. I just Googled what the top tax rate in California was to find that out. The top tax rate in California is about 13.3%. There's an additional 1% surcharge for mental health problems for all personal income taxpayers with taxable income over $1 million. So if you make over $1 million in MMTLP, which you very likely could, because I think the dividend will be spectacular, then you'll be paying 13.3% in California. Add them all up, 20% plus 4.7% plus 13.3%, you get a total of 38% that for total taxes you'd be paying living in California to the feds and to California. That's your out-of-pocket taxes, okay? 38%. That's if you're taking the long-term capital gains treatment. What happens if you don't? Well, then you'd be paying regular income taxes. And if we look at the income tax brackets, the top income tax bracket is going to be 37%. You'll probably wind up in that top tax bracket. So we take the same chart and we substitute in 37% for 20%, add all the numbers up, and we come up with 55%. That's including the Obamacare taxes and the California state income taxes. Okay, 55% versus 38%. Big difference there. Now, if you don't live in California, you'll be paying a different amount of taxes. So taxes in your state will probably vary, and you got to figure that out. So thing to keep in mind. Okay. So let's do some quick tax algebra. Okay. We know that your gross income times tax rate is going to be the taxes that you're going to pay. It's just given. That's how it works. If you take your gross income and you subtract the taxes that you pay, that's everything you got left. That's a net after taxes, right? So you got net after taxes. Let's just take Formula 1 and substitute that into Formula 2, and we get gross income minus gross income times the tax rate equals net after taxes. That's how you get your net after taxes, right? looks like gross income as being, so all we did there was we substituted, right? So that was the substitution there. If we look at that gross income, it looks like we're using gross income twice. So we're going to factor out gross income. So we can say gross income times 1 minus tax rate equals your net after taxes. That's what your net after taxes is going to be based upon your gross income and the tax rate. That's the formula that you wind up with. That's just factoring gross income out, right? Same formula as before. So I'm just going to swap the left and right hand sides. Same formula, no difference, right? Because I just wanted to put things on the left and right hand side. No difference there. Now I'm going to divide by 1 minus the tax rate, and that gives me gross income. So net after taxes divided by 1 minus tax rate gives me the gross income. Why did I do that? Well, I came up with these two formulas, right? So you got the net after taxes based upon the gross income, and you got your gross income based upon the net after taxes. The first formula tells you how much money you'll have after taxes, after you've paid your taxes. That's your net after taxes, right? The second formula tells you how much money you need so that you'll have a certain amount of money after taxes, right? If you want a net after taxes of, I don't know, $100, you'll need a gross income of more than that. So you divide your net after taxes you divide that by 1 minus tax rate, and you get your gross income. Okay, that's how that works. Two formulas. These are the two formulas that matter. I'm going to remove all the other formulas out there. So now you just see these two, because these are the only ones that we care about right now. Okay. Now that we have that, we can start looking at playing around with this, right? So if we take the top line and we take the top and we say that top line is going to be our we say that top line is going to be let's see. We say that top line is going to be the net after taxes for the dividend, and then we can set the bottom line to be the gross income that we would need to achieve that net after taxes for the dividend using a regular income taxes, right? So we can take the top line, set that to the taxes that you'll pay if you were to take the dividend, set the bottom line to be the gross income that you would need, right, based upon the non-dividend rate. So that will achieve a financial equivalence. So we take the top line, we just take the top formula, we substitute in for gross income the estimated dividend price, and for the tax rate on the top line, we substitute in the total tax rate, long-term capital gains, right? That gives us a net after taxes as far as the dividend is concerned. We take the bottom line, we take the second line, line 2, and we take the net after taxes from the top line, we put that in, but we use a tax rate of regular income taxes, okay? And that gives us the equivalent MMTLP sell price based upon regular taxes and the long-term capital gains rate, okay? That's just substitution, okay, for what we plan to do. Now, as a result of that, let's say that we substitute the top line, which is the net after taxes, into the net after taxes of the second line, right? Then we get, it's the same formula as before. We get the estimated dividend times 1 minus total tax rate of long-term capital gains, right? That's the top formula. That's how you get net after taxes. You just substitute that in for the net after taxes, okay? Now you've got a formula to determine what the equivalent MMTLP sell price is, right? Just based upon your dividend price and the two tax rates, the long-term capital gains and the total tax rate, right? But it's based upon the estimated dividend price. So let's divide out the estimated dividend price, and then we come up with this interesting ratio, right? So the ratio of the MMTLP sell price to the estimated dividend price would be 1 minus the total tax rate for long-term capital gains divided by 1 minus total tax rate for the regular income tax. Why did I do that? I did that because if you look at the left-hand side, that is the premium that you expect to pay that I would need. That is a premium that I would need on the dividend price that is required for financial equivalence if I was to sell shares. during the run-up. This is the ratio that I'm looking for, okay? What does that look like? In California, the difference is 37% and 54%. So I take that number and I plug them in. And I take 1 minus 37% divided by 1 minus 54%. I get 63% divided by 46%. And I get 1.37. That is a premium to the expected dividend price that is required for financial equivalence if I was to sell at the MMTLP during the run-up. So I need a 37% premium in California for me over the expected dividend price for equivalence. That's me. That's at minimum. If it goes beyond that, great. That's the way it is. But that's the minimum. That's a minimum price hike I need over what I need. All right. Your state will probably vary, right? How do you do it in your state? Well, you just take that same chart. You have to fill out the chart, right? You would put your state income taxes and add up the two columns, the long-term column and the regular income tax column, and then you substitute into that ratio. And then you'll come up with, with whatever it is for your state. In my state, it's 37%. That's just the way it is, okay? So it's 1.37. It's a 37% premium. So what does that mean? That means if I'm expecting a $60 dividend multiplied by 1.37, I would need an MMTLP price to be at least $82.20 to be equivalent for me after taxes, after all is said and done, to be that $60 dividend, right? That's what I would need. If I'm expecting a $75 dividend, I need $102.75 for equivalence at minimum. Okay, that's just strong. That's just ratios, dude. That's just the way it is. Okay. So let me state this is just what I think might be equivalent prices as far as I'm concerned for my situation, right? Your situation is probably going to vary, and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm definitely not your financial advisor, and I'm not any kind of financial advisor. You're in charge of your own shares. If you choose to sell them, if you choose to do whatever you want to do with them, and you can find a good sell price for yourself based on your situation, right? This video is not advising you in any way, shape, or form. Okay. That's all I have to say. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. This is what I think of the premiums that I would need in terms of MMTLP prices to my expected dividend prices. And I would need at least that kind of a premium. Okay, that's it. Talk to you later. Goodbye.